is the 20 questions with the man himself, Chris Sharma. Are you ready?
Yeah, man.
Yeah?
Depending on the question, we'll see.
Okay, so first question. Do you have any climbing grade goals left, 9C or V17?
I don't really, considering I haven't done a V16, I don't have a V17 as a grade. I'd be psyched to try to do a 9C.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe LeBlanc might be a 9C.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty psyched to try to do that. I'd also be really curious to go try DNA. Also, it would be cool to go try to do Jumbo Love Supreme.
Okay.
How
How many 9B pluses have you done?
I mean, I've done Dura Dura
Yeah.
and Sleeping Lion. I mean,
Right,
I don't know
so two.
those guys said it was 9B, but I think it'll be interesting to see. I still feel like that might be 9B plus.
If someone was climbing outside for the first time, what's your advice?
Well, aside from like any like safety, like going with someone who knows what they're doing, because like that's like super important. The big difference from like when I think about when I went from the gym to the crag was like, you know, you're following a colored set of holds versus just trying to like absorb all of the information from like, you know, all of the rock, where you can find all the different footholds. You have a lot of different options. So trying to almost like not blur your vision, but just like instead of like focusing in on just like this, like try to open like your spectrum of vision to like try to like just open your mind a little bit to like all of the different options that are out there.
So you held the world's best climber title for a long time, and then I guess it was Adam Anja. Who do you think will be the next?
I mean, it's like a flattering title.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't think it's like the most accurate way to like approach that whole thing. I mean, if you really look at climbing, there's so many talented climbers and so many different styles, so it's almost impossible to really say who the best climber is. I mean, I think there is definitely like moments when certain climbers are maybe more influential than others. So I don't know. I mean, I think right now it's really interesting. There's so many amazing climbers out there. So I almost feel like there's so much talent. The level is so high. It almost makes hard climbing irrelevant in a way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all goes.
What is the most overlooked training exercise for climbers, would you say?
I've never really like formally trained. I just go climbing, and I think focusing on being really psyched. If you're really psyched and motivated and having fun, then the discipline will come naturally. It's like I feel like, you know, the inspiration will, out of the inspiration comes the discipline, just kind of naturally. It's not something that you're like forcing yourself to do because you want to get better. So I think focusing on just like having that right, being in that right place emotionally and inspiration wise.
Yeah. I mean, you've also done a lot of yoga. Do you think that helps for climbing?
I think like for sure, like whether it's yoga or meditation or just kind of visualization. But I think when you're inspired, it doesn't feel hard to go do however many tries it takes or however many laps or do whatever, right? And so finding that right headspace is really key.
What do you do for fun outside climbing?
Fun outside climbing?
Outside of climbing, like not climbing outside.
I mean, I love to spend time with my family. I like to take my kids out and do fun stuff, whether it's like we go on hikes or we take them on bike rides or just spend time with my family, basically.
You still surf?
I don't really surf. No. I mean, I would love to say that I do surf, but you know, I grew up surfing in Santa Cruz. But to be good at anything, you have to be very focused and kind of all in with that activity. Yeah. So with climbing, it doesn't really leave room for other hobbies so much. Although the other day I went and played golf. Actually, I had a lot of fun. Nice. It was actually really fun. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did.
That's cool.
Have you ever tried?
I've never tried golfing.
Dude, it was pretty cool. It's kind of like
it's very different from climbing, but
yeah, but it's also like mentally, like the technique and the fact that you're like with friends and you're in like a beautiful place. Yeah. And it's kind of really cool because it's something you could do like on a rest day where you're not gonna maybe get injured.
What do you most dislike about climbing?
I mean, I don't dislike really anything about climbing. I think there are like some things though that like I'm like as guilty as anybody because I love geeking out about like the grades of things because like that's what I love. I love climbing, I love trying hard things, but I feel like as rad and as beautiful and as like badass as climbing is, sometimes it gets really nerdy when it comes to just like, oh, is this one V16 or V17? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like when, I don't know, it just kind of takes away from the overall like badassness of it all when we get like so like detail about like this, you know. I think in general, sometimes we like forget about, or we lose sight of some of like the really cool things about climbing because we get so overly focused on some stuff like the grades and stuff.
What is your favorite crag snack?
My favorite crag snack. If I can like prepare like food at home and bring it with me to the crag, like that's the best thing. Like what I usually end up doing is like going to the climbing gym and ordering like a chicken sandwich and like with avocado in it and bringing, and that's also really good. Like having some fresh food versus like a bar. Otherwise, like some chocolate or some cookies or. But ideally, if I could like make food and bring it with me, it's ideal like in a Tupperware or something like.
What project are you currently working on?
So, well, right now, you know, we're here in Mallorca. I was just trying this project I've been working on. It's a really cool climb. Be kind of like the next, I wouldn't say like next step in difficulty, but it's definitely like of like all the hardest routes I've done here in Mallorca between Espontas and Alasha and Big Fish and Black Pearl. It's kind of like on that same level. And other than that, like climbing around Catalunya, like I would love to do Le Blonde and Perfecto Mundo maybe in Margalef. Kind of psyched to try to like get fit for some of the comps. Kind of excited to play around with that. So it's kind of a new challenge, new project.
Yeah. What's one attitude or belief in climbing culture that you think needs to change?
When we care about something so much, like a project we're trying, it's normal to feel frustrated. And I know that I also like scream when I'm climbing, but I think throwing a tantrum or yelling a lot after when it doesn't go well as we would like, I feel like is a little bit inappropriate and just not like the best image for climbers.
Yeah.
And so I would say that's one.
What do you think is the human potential for climbing, and what do you think it will be, when do you think it will be reached?
Seeing like all of the talent that is coming out up these days is quite incredible. So I'm certain there's some people out there capable of, you know, doing, what would it be, 9C plus, right?
Yeah, nice.
Then they've done 9C, right? So like 9C plus would be the next one, right? And that would be 516. I mean, I think that's really interesting. In the US grading system, that would be a huge milestone, 516. Like that's just something that...
but that's like possible probably within like the next 10, 20 years maybe, but do you think like 10C, is that gonna ever be achieved? Like,
I don't know. I don't know if it'll ever be achieved.
What was your favorite subject at school?
My favorite subject at school was art and was writing. Science too.
Yeah. What did you want to be when growing up?
I basically became like a professional climber when I was like 15 years old.
Yeah.
So it was kind of almost like written for me in a way. But even like once that happened, I think I still like questioned that, and there were other things that crossed my mind. Like, you know, if it wasn't for climbing, what else would I be interested in doing? And I think I've always found myself like kind of like to be a more creative person.
Yeah.
And so something along those lines.
So you never pretended to be like a fireman or something growing up, or?
Not really.
No. Okay.
No. What did you?
Did I? No, but I watched a TV show and I wanted to be a lawyer at some point.
Really?
I think, but I didn't really want to be a lawyer. And I think I wanted to be a police when I was like 3 years old or something. But
yeah, maybe something like that.
Who was your climbing idol growing up?
I mean, I really looked up to a lot of people, but you know, I had the opportunity to climb with like Fred Nicole and Ben Moon and Jerry Moffat and Marc Leministrel and Gilles Trevaux and Ron Kalk, Boone Speed. And then it's cool too because like I keep getting inspired by new people. It's really interesting to see like being in the role now, like still motivated to push myself, but then seeing like all these new people, and then like getting kind of like, you know, inspired by them.
What do you consider your greatest climbing achievement?
I mean, I think this climb right here is definitely one of my greatest climbing achievements for sure. I mean, not only just doing the hardest routes, but doing kind of like unique climbs that are kind of like a little bit outside of the kind of the paradigm of what, you know, and kind of have shifted things a little bit. And also pretty proud to just be still psyched after 30 years, like super motivated. It's like something is like kind of an achievement of itself. So
cats or dogs?
You know, I've got 2 kids. We've got 3 cats at home. Okay. Honestly, like I've got my hands full. Yeah. I mean, I love our cats, but like I'm like not really in the pet mode right now.
So neither.
Sorry to my wife, but yeah. Okay. I mean, they're beautiful cats. They're wonderful cats, but it's like.
Hopefully she's not going to see this. Yeah. What's the easiest route you've fallen on in recent memory?
I don't know. I mean, I fall off easy climbs all the time.
What do you consider easy though?
Like sometimes even at the gym, like if you're just climbing a little bit faster than you should, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know. But I think, I mean, it wasn't an easy climb by any means, but like I took a pretty gnarly fall a few weeks back on this project. I did this like gnarly back slap. Yeah. That's definitely the most memorable fall I've taken in like recent memory.
Where is the most sandbagged climbing, you think?
I mean, for me, climbing in Yosemite is really challenging. Right. Cracks, the slabs, the really tricky stuff like that.
What is one of the things that old school climbers do better than new school climbers?
It's interesting because like, you know, I competed recently and people commented just like saying that I could tell like the amount of experience that I had on the wall. And I think there's something, I can't like really generalize it or specify, but I think it's an interesting observation that like experience amounts for a lot of, you know, how you climb and how you move on the wall and how you approach a climb. And so I think just, you know, you might have someone that is physically stronger or fitter, but if they don't know how to, you know, use their body in an efficient way, it might not necessarily make them a better climber.
What would you be doing if you weren't a pro climber?
I mean, it's cool now at this point in my life, you know, I started a climbing gym company, doing a lot of other things. We're doing some climbing events, some deep water solo events. So it's hard for me to think about my life not being connected to climbing in one form or another. And actually, I like to think about my personal relationship with climbing outside of like my profession of climbing. And so I think in some ways, like if I wasn't a pro climber, like I would still be a climber. And I think in some ways, like that's kind of what I aspire to, is just go climbing for myself. Yeah. And I think that's kind of an exciting thing to think about.
Any other sports that you think look? I mean, you mentioned golf earlier. Is that some pro golfer? Could that be a thing?
No, I don't think that's a thing.
Pro surfer, pro.
No. I don't know. I could just see myself maybe getting more into like art or music.
Nice. All right, so that was all the questions. So if you want to join the altitude retreat with Chris Sharma and me on Mallorca, we would love to have you. If you want more information, please click the link below. And we'll see you next time.